All right, welcome back to Inside Gateway. Today we are privileged to have a special edition of Inside Gateway. We are filming it ahead of time, so it isn't live, but we're privileged to have Vikki with us, one of our counselors. Vikki, talk a little bit about what you currently do at Gateway Woods.
Right now, I'm a therapist, so I do counseling with the kids and interact a lot with placing agents and parents and kind of coordinate the care of our residents.
So what does your typical caseload look like? How many kids do you work with?
Well, I think since I've been here, the most I've ever had was probably 7 or 8
Okay,
at
wow.
one time. Yeah, it can be a handful.
Yeah, so do you have like a limit with your license, like how many you're able to take?
No.
Just
Nope, no
how many
limit.
hours in the day you have, I guess, right?
Yeah, 40 a week, so.
Very good. So before you came to Gateway, what kind of counseling did you do, or what was kind of your training to get you to this point?
Well, I started with the state, and I was doing vocational counseling while I was earning my degree in counseling, because I'm kind of a, I guess, late bloomer.
Okay.
I didn't go to school for counseling right out of college, but I have been doing it for a long time. Just, I didn't need credentials till I moved to Indiana, and they were like, you can't do counseling here without credentials, so went back to school when I was working for the state, and that was really the first time I heard about Gateway through clients there, because I was reading documentation that they would bring that would speak to their barriers
Okay.
of employment, because my job for the state was a vocational rehabilitation counselor, so I would determine what the barriers were for someone to get a job, and then I would help them either overcome the barrier or find a job where that barrier, just wouldn't be a part of that equation. So
Okay, so you first heard about Gateway through really paperwork, right?
yes,
Okay.
yes, I didn't know what it was. I did not even realize that it was like a children's residential home,
Okay.
or that it was actually like a home. Like when you come to Gateway, I had a friend come to visit, and she said that this looks like a little community.
Yeah.
It just looks like a little like subdivision of some neighborhood, and you can't tell that this is like an institution
Sure.
or anything like that.
Yeah, I think that's a really great thing, especially for the kids that live here. Being a house parent myself in the past, the kids would walk in and you just see it on their faces, like confusion, but kind of excitement, just anticipation, like,
Yeah,
what am I going
is
to get
this?
this?
Yeah.
But when people drive by, yeah, it's so easy to miss because it just looks like another housing division or subdivision or whatever,
Yeah.
an allotment. Well, that's really cool. That's a very unique way to first be exposed to Gateway Woods. Myself and many others, we kind of always knew about Gateway because it was just kind of an extension of our church, just the mission. So you've been here about almost a year?
Almost a year.
Okay. And unfortunately, we're going to lose you and you're moving on.
Yes.
So talk about that a little bit, like what kind of led you to that decision and kind of what maybe is next for you.
I honestly don't even know. It wasn't something I was looking for. It was just something that I had friends who knew people, and I guess they were kind of talking to me, to another person at Fort Wayne Recovery, which is where I'm
Okay.
going, and it's just addictions work. And I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't looking for anything. I was very happy here. The people here to work with they've just been wonderful, and it's been so nice to be able to work in a Christian organization. And I think, the thing that really fascinated me about this culture, because it kind of is a culture,
Yeah.
Every workplace has a culture, but when I came here and I saw how much you guys are involved in each other's lives, you go to church together, you worship together, you pray for each other, and you go to work,
Yeah.
like, together. I was like, wow, how do you guys do this? Because, you know, in a normal work environment, you can go to church, and that's separate from your workplace. And you don't see those people at church. You don't have to, not that you would put on airs, but you don't have to, like, constantly, like, be a Christian because,
Sure.
I mean, unless you're faithful to Christ, and
Yeah.
you do that anyway, but
Yeah, I'm thankful for this culture. I've worked in places that maybe aren't as Christian or not Christian at all. And it's just nice to be able to be yourself and just really kind of share that hope and that faith that we all have, and just not be afraid to do that, and know that the people that are going to hear it believe the same thing. On the flip side, obviously we have the opportunity for yourself with residents or different clients that maybe aren't Christians, that we can be able to still speak that truth kind of unashamedly, but the response is different. But, you know, that's part of our call as Christians, to be that light and to spread the truth. And so that's really cool that you're going in something, addictions, because I think we can all look at our own lives. We're addicted to something, whether it's ourself or a substance or sin or whatever. And so it's very important. And I think for myself or anybody, it's just like, oh, I can white knuckle through this, I'm going to get past it, or I'm not addicted to whatever. And it's just like, no, that's falsehood. It's like, it's very clear in Scripture that our affection needs to be to God and Him alone. And so I'm thankful for you and many others that step out there and kind of give that counseling and that teaching for, it's a real issue and problem in our culture today.
yeah, I think that was the one of the deciding factors when I actually decided to take this job, is because you guys do here present the gospel to these kids on a daily basis, because I see the boards in the houses, and they do devotions every day, they pray at meals, and so they have that exposure. And the place that I'm going to, they don't necessarily have that. They may not have ever even had that exposure. So, yeah, so if I can be a light, you know, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Well, we definitely will be praying for your transition, and invite everybody else as well that's watching to pray for Vikki and her transition. So talk a little bit, your husband kind of works at a similar place, right?
Yeah, my husband, Joe Heins, he is the director of Woodburn Christian Children's Home.
Okay.
And actually, I think that's really how I got connected here, because he did his internship here.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and it was kind of like he was talking to Jeff Weibel about me, and at the time they didn't have any open positions, but then I think it was October, would be 2017, I got a call from Jeff, and he said, "You're not apostolic, so the process is going to be really slow." I had no idea how slow.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got in, and from there it's been great. But there are some differences, like at Woodburn Christian Children's Home, they are strictly private placement.
Okay.
And a lot of the kids that they take are like before the kids get in trouble.
Okay.
They do have some kids who have maybe mild on the autism spectrum. They have a few international adoptions that just, you know, I guess they just struggle assimilating. There's one boy there that he's from the Ukraine, and he just does better, like, with structure. And our American lives, we're just not really always structured. You know, we come and go. A lot of times both parents work, so, you know, there's a lot of gaps of supervision, and, you know, kids get creative when they're not supervised. So, and that's usually what happens. But yeah, this particular boy, he just does better when he knows what he needs to do, when kind of a watchful eye is always kind of on him. But yeah, but he does really well. He struggles when he goes home. Mom and dad, they both work and they have social events and sports events and all kinds of things, and they're busy, and he just can't assimilate to that kind of culture.
Yeah. I think we all need structure in our lives, whether it's internally or externally, putting that on us. So I'm thankful for my job, and I'm thankful for expectations, deadlines that I have. Because without that, then I would get distracted or kind of whatever, not stay on task. So it's very, very good. So what have you learned here working at Gateway? It's only been a year, and so I think you'd back, you can learn a lot in a year, but it's really kind of just setting the stage for kind of further. But unpack a little bit what you've learned in this past year.
Oh my goodness. I've learned a lot. I wish I could, I guess it was my choice, but Jeff has got a really interesting leadership style, and I don't know, he's just really good at delivering bad news.
Okay.
It's hard to explain. You have to experience it. So if you've worked for Jeff Weibel, you know what I'm talking about. He's very positive. He's the best boss I have ever had. And it would be nice if I could have stayed longer to, kind of have some of that kind of rub off on me. But, this opportunity just came up, and I was like, oh, I don't know. So I kind of jumped in. But, I've learned, oh gosh, I just love these kids. I love this population. And it probably makes me sound a little crazy, but the worse the kid is, the more I like them.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is. It's a weird thing. You would think that it would be easy to love the easier kids, and I do love them too. But the ones that are really struggling or mouthy or just, make house parents want to pull their hair out, those are the ones that I love the most.
Wow, that's great. So, talk a little bit about your family. Obviously, your husband. Do you have children or?
Yeah, we have 4 kids.
Okay.
My husband always jokes that both of us should have actually grown up in children's homes because, he grew up in a single parent home. I grew up in a single parent home. My single parent home was probably a lot more dysfunctional than his, but I think it probably would have helped both of us to grow up. But we never even heard of children's homes till we moved here to Indiana, and we were in ministry and making those connections. But we have 4 children, and sadly, part of raising our children was keeping them away from our families or having limited contact, because it just wasn't healthy, and especially my family was very toxic. So the kids that come here, I really understand, and I connect with the kind of environments that they come from, because that's what I came from. But we had 4 kids. My oldest is 30.
Okay.
And I'm going to be a grandmother because of him.
Congratulations.
I'm actually really excited about that. And then my daughter Victoria, she's 24. My daughter Caitlin just turned 21. Okay. And my son Joey, he is 19. And both of my sons are in the Army.
Okay.
So, and my daughter-in-law, she's also in the Army. She was a drill sergeant. And then my son-in-law, he's also in the Air Guard. So, big military family, and crazy proud of my kids. And they're standing up for and putting their lives really
Yeah.
on the line every day. Like, you know, in the Bible, Jesus and everything, and we know Jesus came and gave his life for us. I feel like through my kids, I understand that even more, like at a deeper level, because they put their life on the line every day. And I am very, very proud of them, and also very nervous sometimes because, you know, when they're in combat or when they have to go to Afghanistan or Kandahar, or someplace really dangerous.
Yeah.
It can be a little nerve-wracking, but I believe that they're in God's hands. So,
Amen.
yeah.
So, as you kind of transition out, what would you encourage to potential counselor or house parents that might be praying or thinking about coming to work at Gateway? Words of advice that you would give them?
Come like Zachariah, roll up your sleeves, and jump in and get it done.
Very good. Yeah, I think we just need to step out in faith. A lot of times there's questions. We're always going to have questions. And unfortunately, if we had all the answers, we wouldn't want to do anything. We would
Right.
cower in a corner. At least I
Yeah.
would. So I'm
Yeah.
thankful that we have some ignorance, that God has blessed us with that. And just stepping out in faith and knowing that, looking back in my own life, it's like he's provided in so many ways, more than I can ever imagine. Why is he not going to provide in this next decision or this next step of life? So that's my prayer for you, Vikki, that he will provide for you as you make that transition. And this is really all I had. Is there anything else that you would like to share or kind of add?
I don't think so. It's just been really great working here, and I've met so many wonderful people. And I guess between you and me and whoever decides to watch this, I was at a community mental health center, and I mean, it was a necessary step toward getting my hours for my licensure and stuff like that. But it can also beat up a therapist. And when I left there, I did not realize how much strain I had been under in that job. And so here, even though there is a lot to do, because there's always something to do, and there's always something that you forgot to do that you needed to do, like yesterday, but there was also a lot of healing here too. And I think that's just because, you know, God is here, God is with this organization, and and it kind of helped rebuild me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no. I mean, turning lives around is kind of our mantra or part of our mission. And that's not just the people we serve. I mean, that's all of us. And that's God's heart and mission for all of us to be refined and to be sanctified, to ultimately be glorified in heaven. And so I appreciate that. And I thank you for your time again. And we just really want to lay it out here again. So house parents are a vital part of what we do here. And we are short-staffed on that front. It's been a while, and it adds a lot of stress. So if you know somebody or yourself, please pray for that, for open doors, for hearts to be moved, and that we could get some house parents here to keep this mission thriving and turn more lives around. So we praise God for everything that we've given, and we look forward to just a great 2019. Thanks.
Oh, that is one thing I should have said. Oh, can I say something real
go
quick?
ahead.
Okay, so I am really going to miss the guys that I prayed with every week. Mark, Ed, Dan, and Chad. I'm going to miss you guys, and I will be thinking of you every Monday at 9:30. I know you're going to be on my mind, and I'll probably be praying with you. So, love you guys. I'll miss you.